Hi, welcome back to Mel's Health. I'm Mel. It's always lovely to have you here. Today I'm going to speak about the first week after I was discharged from hospital with submassive pulmonary embolism and pneumonia, and kind of compare it a little bit to how I'm feeling now at almost the 9-month mark. So after spending a few days in hospital in May 2020, I got the all clear to go home and start my recovery. My ER doctor prescribed me some blood thinners called apixaban, aka Eliquis, and antibiotics for my pneumonia, and he referred me to a thrombosis clinic who would take on my care from there on out. You can check out my previous videos by subscribing to my channel. I have videos outlining exactly what happened to me when I initially got diagnosed, and there's a video explaining all things blood thinners and my experiences with them so far. Hit those like and subscribe button, guys. It's very, very much appreciated, and it really does help out my new little channel here. So anyway, I leave the hospital. It's a Thursday afternoon and I just chill out at home for the rest of that day. And then the very next day, I get a call from the thrombosis clinic to book me in for an initial phone appointment the following week. And I also have a telephone appointment with my GP lined up because she'll be the one dealing with like my sick note for work and any potential benefits that I'll be able to claim. So a few more days pass and then I have my phone appointment with the thrombosis clinic. It's one of the nurses that gives me a call. And it was really informative for an initial appointment. I've seen a lot online that there's so many people out there who are discharged from hospital still absolutely clueless as to what's going on with them and what their next kind of treatment plan or help is going to be. So I'm pretty glad that my care plan so far has been quite efficient and reliable. During the phone call, she told me that there was a lot of strain on my heart when I was tested in hospital the week before, but not enough to totally reduce its function. So going by the scans that they did when I was in hospital, there shouldn't be any lasting damage to my heart, which is good. She also let me know, as had every health professional I'd spoken to that week, that I do have a lot of large clots and they're going to take time to degrade. We then moved on to discussing genetic testing and my family history. As I mentioned before, my dad has a protein S deficiency and he takes Warfarin for life. At this point in that conversation, my genetic testing results were not back yet, so they couldn't really comment on the total cause behind my clots. But it's something that was going to be focused on more, and it's something that I will do a separate video on, because it's looking now as though the potential cause of my clots are the fact that I have a protein S deficiency, but I was also taking the oral contraceptive pill. So put those together and it's not really a good mix. She then moved on to the recovery side of things and said that generally within 1 to 2 weeks, people can start to see a bit of improvement. And she told me to take some Tylenol regularly for any pain that I had. Obviously at this point I was experiencing pain, and I explained to her that I was getting very tight in my chest and my back. I have pain that kind of sits in my collarbones, goes up to my neck, and I get random twinges in my lungs as well. And then looking back on it right now, I'm almost at the 9-month mark, and that is exactly how I feel sitting here talking to this video right now. My collarbones are so tight, like around my neck, and I'm still taking Tylenol regularly. So pain management is my general advice, and then if it got to the point where it was getting worse, to the point of worry, then obviously I need to go and get seen. I was also advised to stay away from anything that resembles an ibuprofen style pain relief. You're not supposed to take those whilst on blood thinners, so that would be something like Advil or Aleve. I'm just going to take a sec to bring up some Canadian English differences in those medications I was talking about around pain relief, because I don't think anyone in the UK and watching this is going to know what Tylenol and Advil are. Here in Canada, Tylenol is the most widely used acetaminophen. And for the English bods watching, acetaminophen is paracetamol, the exact same thing. I've never heard anyone in England ask for acetaminophen when they need something. It's always like, mate, got a headache, you got any paracetamol? Same with ibuprofen. Here in Canada, most people are just going to ask you for an Advil because it's the brand. Just like back home, someone might say if you got a Nurofen or a Brufen, it's all ibuprofen, the anti-inflammatory. And here in Canada, we also have Aleve, which is widely popular, which is a naproxen. So that's just another anti-inflammatory. So the bottom line here is that if you're on blood thinners, don't take ibuprofen style pain relief, stick to paracetamol / acetaminophen. All right, so back to regularly scheduled programming. I was told there was no huge restrictions on my life, especially with this medicine. There's not any kind of real dietary restrictions, but there's things that I can't do, and that would be contact sports, mountain biking, no heavy lifting, light duties if I return to work, and no drinking to excess. The no mountain biking was mainly referring back to the point that was stressed to me when I was in hospital about falling over, cutting myself or banging my head. The head banging is the main one because when you're on blood thinners, then you don't have clotting agents in your blood. So if you were to hit your head quite hard, there's nothing really stopping a potential bleed on the brain. So if I do hit my head, I need to present to the ER immediately and let them know my situation, because they'd have to monitor me, probably stop the meds that I'm on and wait for them to start leaving my system before they could properly intervene. So it's not ideal. So I took it pretty easy. The first week out of hospital, my fiance and I would just go to like the local shop every day, just doing like daily groceries as an excuse to leave the house. It should kind of be around like a 20-minute round trip generally, but in this situation I was just like walking a bit and then getting really tired, and then I'd need a rest and I'd be out of breath. And the whole thing would kind of wipe me out to the point where I'd get back, feel quite tired afterwards, and even have a little nap. You know when you walk around town and you just see old people sat on benches everywhere? Yeah, I totally get it. I was there. It's knackering just walking around the shops in this situation. It sucks. When you're in this kind of situation, it is necessary to take it easy, but it's also detrimental to sit around doing nothing. You can't take it too easy. You need to get out there and get moving. As I explained in my blood thinner video, blood thinners don't dissolve blood clots. They are just there to prevent further clotting or clots growing. So the only way to break these down is time. And if you keep your blood moving by getting out and about, then the blood can pass past them and maybe chip away at them a bit. But this is why recovery can take so long, especially when you have multiple massive clots like I have. It can take a really long time. Towards the end of my phone appointment with the nurse, she told me that they wanted to book me in for an in-person appointment pretty soon, because they wanted to be able to gauge how I am now and how I am at the 3-month point. They wanted to get a comparison, so they booked me in pretty quickly as well. I had an appointment within the next 2 weeks, which was in June, and again, it was all around this kind of efficient care plan. I'm really glad that they're actually quite attentive when it comes to kind of keeping you on this treatment plan, how they're going to care for you, because what I've seen online is not everybody gets this kind of treatment. So what I did after this phone call was actually started a written record of my daily activities, like what I was doing, how I was feeling, what I was experiencing, and how the walks were going and things like that. And then towards the end of that first week, I think it was the following weekend after being discharged from hospital, I wanted to kind of push myself a bit more and go out for a proper walk. The weather was great, being summer, it kind of makes you want to get outside. So we met up with some friends and did one of the more mellow hikes around where I live. It's quite short, but it gets you to a nice viewpoint over the town. And it's one of the hikes that I did back in the winter when I'd just been diagnosed with Bell's palsy and had a paralysed face, and I made it to the top and everything was great. So I kind of had in my head that it's very doable and I could get up there if I really wanted to. And much to everyone's surprise, including myself, I needed a few rest stops along the way, but I got to the viewpoint and it wasn't as bad as I thought. Looking back on moments like that from the very first week when I was discharged from hospital to where I am now, I kind of feel like I've deteriorated a bit. I don't know if that's just because I've been suffering with this for such a prolonged amount of time now. But then I also think as well, it was summer, you want to get outside more. It was all very fresh and I thought I was going to recover a lot faster than what I had. So I was probably a bit more motivated as well. So I recommend kind of keeping this written log or video yourself or something of what you kind of go through in the beginning, because it's very, very easy to forget when you're going through something every day about what you were actually feeling right at the start. And then you look on it months later and it's kind of a nice reminder of what you actually did and maybe how far you've come. Also, it might show you some similarities, like me describing all those pains that I told the nurse in that initial phone call are the exact same pains that I'm feeling now. So when I have like follow-up appointments and they're like, is this a new pain or is this something that you've always had? I can actually look back and be like, no, I'm still in the same kind of pain. The twinges are in the same kind of areas. My collarbones are what kind of tightens up the most and up my neck, and it's all very much the same thing. So it's not like things are changing and I'm getting new pains and anything like this. It's something that the doctor can kind of use when they look at then treating you further, because nothing is really changing with me. That about rounds up all I wanted to kind of say today, comparing the very beginning to where I'm at now. But I wanted to kind of advocate for myself and get the message out there as well that it's not a fast process. I've seen online a few times where people are out of hospital and they're still within their first few weeks and they're like, when am I going to start to feel better? Has anyone else been feeling crappy for this long? And it's like, do you know what? Yeah, I'm at the 9-month point, and when I look back on my notes from the very beginning, those same pains are still there. Like, I'm still plodding along every single day, just kind of doing what needs to be done and then just waiting for a result to happen, because you can't speed this up. It's just something that is going to happen over time, and the doctors will treat you how they can treat you, and you can just keep your diet the same. You can do a little bit of exercise and you can try and keep a healthy-ish lifestyle, and sometimes it just takes its sweet time. I have my 9-month review booked in next week, and hopefully we'll discuss what's going on with like medications and how treatment might be able to change, because my last INR had gone down again to 1.7, so my meds have gone up a dose again to 10 ml every day. But I think what I will focus on more next in terms of videos is the actual cause of the clots, as I mentioned earlier. So look out for a video coming on protein S and the oral contraceptive pill. But as always, I thank you very, very much for watching today. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really, really does help. And I'll see you soon. Bye.